Hey guys, tonight we slip into the kind of story where your shoes will never quite dry, your nerves will fray faster than your laces, and yes, you probably won't survive this one. You're walking into the heart of a gnome-haunted forest, a place so thick with fog it feels like breathing soup, and somewhere in that mist, there's a puzzle box clutched in the stubby fingers of a king who cheats at every game he plays. Outsmarting him? Possible. Enjoyable? Debatable. Surviving? Let's just say don't bet your rent money on it. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. I'm curious how many night owls I've got sneaking into these stories with me. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The path you've been following is more suggestion than trail, just faint depressions in the grass that lead you forward. Every few steps, your lantern flares as though it's swallowing air too greedily, casting a jittery halo against the mist. The fog curls around your ankles like it has intentions, sliding higher whenever you pause, and you get the sense that standing still too long might be a mistake. Not that moving feels much better. Each tree trunk looks suspiciously like it's hiding a smirk. The laughter starts faint. Not the belly-shaking, beer-spilling kind, but a quick titter, thin and precise, like someone testing how far sound can carry without snapping. You stop, raise the lantern, and swear the moss shifts on the bark ahead, bulging outward before flattening back as if pretending it was never alive at all. The laughter flickers again, a little closer this time, overlapping voices as though two children were rehearsing the same joke but refusing to share the punchline. The damp smell of mushrooms fills your lungs, heavy, earthy, and faintly metallic. You brush a fern aside, its fronds dripping cold water onto your sleeve, and suddenly the path opens wider. A line of lanterns, glass mouths glowing faint orange, stretches forward into the gray. They hang from crooked iron posts, swaying though there's no wind. Each light trembles in its glass cage as if eager to break free, and together they make a narrow avenue into the deeper mist. Of course you step onto it. What else would you do? Wait in the dark until something with too many teeth introduces itself? At least lanterns are a polite invitation. You walk, the fog pressing against your cheeks like damp wool, until the laughter resumes, this time directly ahead. You quicken your pace, half to prove you're not afraid, half because lingering feels like advertising that you're on the menu. The trees lean tighter overhead, their crowns merging until the lantern glow barely keeps the tunnel lit. For a second, you catch a flicker. Short silhouettes darting across the gaps, barely knee-high, with pointed outlines at their heads. Shadows scamper just outside your vision, never staying long enough to count. You tell yourself that hearing twigs snap isn't proof of anything. Then, the lanterns end, abruptly. You take one more step, expecting another post, but the last flame sputters behind you, leaving your own lantern's halo as the only anchor. Beyond this, the fog thickens into a wall, swallowing sound. You reach out. Your hand disappears into the gray, and even the glow of your lantern doesn't penetrate far. The laughter stops. That's when the whisper replaces it. Not high-pitched, not childish, but low, almost subterranean, like a breath forced through a crack in stone. It says nothing you understand, just a rustle, a syllable half-formed. Your chest tightens, partly because you're not sure if it spoke words or just rearranged your heartbeat. You lift your lantern higher.
The mist parts reluctantly, showing the faint outline of another post, but this one carries no glass lantern. Instead, something round hangs from its hook, small and wooden, no bigger than your fist. A box, though oddly faceted, each side etched with lines that seem too precise for carving knives. It swings gently, though the air here is dead still. You reach for it, naturally, because what else do you do when alone in a supernatural forest haunted by giggling predators? Right, touch the suspicious artifact. Your fingers brush the wood, and it's warm, far warmer than the damp air should allow, almost like skin. The etchings press shallow grooves into your fingertips, forming patterns your brain wants to decode before it even admits they're letters. Behind you, the laughter erupts again, louder, many voices at once, cascading like a choir of hyenas. You snatch the box free and tuck it under your arm. The laughter cuts off immediately, leaving only the groan of the trees above, the steady drip of leaves on leaves, and your pulse punching against your collar. The fog shifts, not drifting, but recoiling, as though your theft has pushed it backward. For the first time, you see clear air ahead, a path widening into a faintly glowing horizon. Beyond, there's movement. A crooked bridge silhouetted in that glow, planks uneven, rope sagging under invisible weight. And somewhere out there, beyond the bridge, waits the one who owns this forest, the one who invented the box you now clutch. And you? Well, congratulations. You've just picked the one object in this place that guarantees you a personal meeting with the Gnome King.
The glow ahead pulls you forward, though calling it welcoming would be generous. It has that pale, swampy quality of a candle about to give up, more sickly than warm. You clutch the box tighter under your arm, feeling its edges pulse with a warmth that seems to match your heartbeat. Each step squelches in the mud, and the sound is loud in the hush, like you're announcing yourself with a megaphone to anything lurking nearby. The crooked bridge comes into full view. It stretches across a ravine you didn't notice until now, a black slash in the earth that swallows the fog. The gap is wide enough to stop you in your tracks, and when you lean forward, your lantern reveals no bottom, just a breath of cold air rushing upward, carrying a smell like rusting nails dipped in swamp water. The bridge itself is a collection of rotting planks, nailed in at odd angles, some barely clinging to the fraying ropes that hold the structure together. The posts are lashed to trees on either side, but even they look untrustworthy, twisted trunks leaning away as though ashamed of their craftsmanship. It sags heavily in the middle, dipping into the mist as if it wants to drown itself. Your brain supplies a list of reasons why crossing is a terrible idea. Your feet ignore all of them. They find the first plank, which creaks so loudly it echoes into the ravine. You freeze, waiting for the collapse, but the wood holds, barely. The ropes groan like old stomachs, and the entire bridge sways as if waking from a nap. You put one foot after the other, slowly, cautiously, the lantern swinging in one hand while the puzzle box presses hot against your ribs. Below, the darkness yawns wider, and sometimes, only sometimes, you think you see faint glimmers moving inside it, like eyes tracking you. Best not to lean too far over the rope. Halfway across, the laughter starts again. Not distant this time. It bursts from the shadows beneath the bridge, a dozen little snickers carried upward by the draft. You freeze, clutching the ropes. The laughter doesn't fade. It circles, echoing, like tiny feet running laps beneath the planks. Something bumps the wood under your left foot. The bridge lurches. "Steady," you mutter, though your voice sounds embarrassingly thin. The box under your arm throbs once, almost impatiently. A plank snaps behind you, falling away into the void. You don't look back. Forward, that's the only rule now. The ropes twist as if hands are tugging them from below, and for a brief, horrifying second, you imagine dozens of little gnome faces peering up at you through the gaps, teeth bared in mischievous grins. Then the whispers join the laughter. They coil through the air around your ears, sharp as needles, impossible to understand, yet definitely aimed at you. Your lantern flickers, flame shrinking. You quicken your steps, planks rattling like loose teeth under your weight. Near the far side, one last obstacle waits. A gap where two planks should be. Only a frayed rope dangles across it, wet and slick. The distance is just wide enough that you can't step over casually. You'll have to jump. You glance back. The mist behind you churns, shapes darting inside it, short and fast. You grip the box tighter, draw a breath that tastes like mildew, and leap. Your boots slam onto the next plank, which lets out a death scream groan, but holds. You stagger, nearly losing the lantern, and then scramble onto solid earth, collapsing against the nearest tree. The bridge sways violently behind you, ropes twisting, planks snapping one by one, as if unseen hands are tearing it apart in frustration. Within seconds, the whole structure collapses into the foggy ravine. Silence follows, heavy and smug. The box under your arm cools slightly, as though satisfied. You sit there breathing hard, damp with sweat despite the chill, and realize that retreat is no longer an option. The Gnome King's domain has swallowed the path behind you. The only way forward lies deeper into this forest, where whispers wait beneath the roots. And you've just passed the first of his little games. Don't get cocky. He's only warming up.
You stay pressed against the tree for a moment longer, waiting for your heart to unclench from its frantic drumming. The ravine sighs behind you, still exhaling cold air through the shredded ropes that dangle like broken puppet strings. With the bridge gone, you're committed. No dramatic rescues, no turning back. Just forward, into the deeper tangle of the Gnome King's playground. The path ahead looks almost deliberate now. Gnarled roots crisscross the ground in a way that forces you to walk between them, as though a giant hand carefully braided the forest floor into lanes. The puzzle box thumps softly under your arm, each beat unsettlingly timed with your pulse. You're not sure whether it's comforting, like carrying a living thing, or horrifying, like carrying a parasite. Both, probably. The fog here is quieter. It hugs the ground, leaving the upper branches clearer, where faintly glowing mushrooms climb the bark in spiral patterns. They give off enough light to make your lantern seem unnecessary, though you don't dare put it out. Every few steps you hear whispers again, but not playful ones. These are slower, lower, resonant. They echo like voices speaking into soil, words traveling up through the roots. You kneel, pressing your palm against the damp earth. Vibrations tickle your hand, tiny rhythms, almost like syllables. Someone, somewhere beneath you, is speaking. Not to you, not yet, but about you maybe. You press your ear to the ground, the whispers sharpen, snippets float up, though they don't always string together in any human language. Carrying it, greedy little king. Rules broken, box hungers. The voice is not singular. There are several, overlapping, like a council murmuring in a circle. You lift your head too quickly, dizzy from the pressure of it. Moss sticks to your cheek. You wipe it away, and that's when you realize you're not alone on the path. Between two roots ahead, a pair of eyes gleam faintly. Small, round, unblinking. Another set blinks open beside them. Then another. Dozens.
Gnomes? No, smaller than that, thinner. The shapes slither back into shadow before you can catch more than impressions. Wiry limbs, 2 long fingers, mouths sealed shut by thorn stitching. Silent watchers. The whispers rise again, angrier now. The ground trembles faintly under your boots, and the box warms again in response, as if it recognizes the voices. A root shifts in front of you, deliberately, like a snake changing position. It forces you to stop walking. The soil beneath cracks slightly, and a single whisper crawls up distinct and clear this time. Return it. Your throat dries. The box burns hot under your arm, but your grip tightens instead of loosening. Not an option, you mutter. The forest reacts. The roots lift higher, snarling together until they form a kind of archway, a tunnel forcing you in one direction. The way back is already sealing, closing like a clenched fist. Whatever the voices wanted, they're not going to negotiate. You step under the arch, and the temperature drops 10 degrees instantly. Dampness clings to your hair. The tunnel slopes downward, carved entirely of interwoven roots, their bark slick with condensation. They twitch faintly as you brush against them, like muscles reacting to a needle. The whispers are louder here. You can almost separate them into individuals, one harsh and rapid, another slow and dragging, a third almost amused. They argue among themselves, the words slipping closer to something you half recognize. Belongs. Not his. Trap within trap. Then laughter, but not the gnome king kind. This laughter is crueler, sharper, and makes the back of your teeth ache. You duck lower as the tunnel narrows. Water drips steadily from above, tasting metallic when it splashes your lips. You're about to curse the entire architecture of this place when the tunnel spits you out into a hollow chamber. The walls here are entirely root flesh, twisting upward into a dome. Glowing fungi dot the knots, and in the center lies a pool of water, still and black, reflecting the ceiling like a mirror. Around the pool sit 3 figures, hunched and pale. Their bodies thin enough you can see where bones push under skin. Their mouths are indeed sewn shut, but the whispers come from them all the same, vibrating directly through the roots they sit upon. They turn their heads in eerie unison to look at you. The box under your arm sears hot, like it wants to leap from your grip toward them. You force a grin, voice wobbling. Evening. Love what you've done with the place. Very root chic. Humor's a bad shield, but it's the only one you've got. The middle figure tilts its head, stringy hair swinging. The roots beneath your feet quiver, carrying its words. Puzzle feeds on questions. The one to the left twitches, whispering through soil. King hoards answers. The third leans forward, sockets too deep, and its voice scratches. You cannot win his way. Then, in perfect synchrony, all 3 rise, their bones popping like twigs. Their stitched mouths gape wide enough for dark water to dribble out, pooling at their feet. The pool in the chamber's center ripples violently. Shapes flicker beneath its surface, mechanical and glinting, like gears spinning in oil. You don't wait for an invitation. You take a step back, clutching the box tighter, and the chamber shudders as though unsalted. The root voices hiss in unison, "Run, little thief, or drown." And like obedient hostages, the roots twist open another tunnel behind you, exhaling damp air that smells of mold and stone. You don't need to be told twice. You plunge into the new passage, their whispers chasing you like smoke curling after fire. Behind you, the pool churns violently, but you don't look back.
The tunnel spits you out into air that's warmer, drier, carrying the faintest tang of smoke. You stumble forward, brushing moss and damp earth off your jacket, and realize you're no longer underground. The fog is thinner here, peeled back to reveal a strange clearing. A building waits in the middle of it. A tavern if you squint, though calling it normal would be generous. The walls are timber, but warped into odd curves, as though the whole place had been grown instead of built. Candles flicker through warped glass windows, their light stretching into uneven stripes across the grass. The roof tilts slightly left, and the chimney exhales smoke in perfect square puffs, rising like building blocks stacking themselves into the air. Most peculiar of all, there are no doors. Not in the front, not at the side, not even a shabby service entrance around the back when you circle it suspiciously. Just walls and windows glowing with warm light, music faintly spilling out, fiddles, laughter, mugs clinking, the sound of revelry sealed away, taunting you. The puzzle box thrums faintly under your arm, as if recognizing the place. You mutter, "Yeah, I hear it too. Feels like a trap, huh?" And yet the music is enticing. A fiddle races into a sharp jig that makes your foot tap despite your better judgment. You try one of the windows. The glass is cool, solid. You press your lantern to it, peering inside. The tavern is lively. Sprites and small folk crowd the tables, their wings shimmering like oil on water, mugs the size of thimbles slamming against tiny wooden tables. One sprite perches on the bar itself, shouting at the bartender, who looks like a scarecrow stuffed with moss. The whole scene vibrates with manic energy, as though someone turned joy into a drug and served it by the pint. You knock. Nobody responds. You knock harder. The window opens up, but not like glass. It folds, melting away into a circular opening. Without giving yourself time to think, you climb in. The moment your boots hit the floorboards, every head swivels. Hundreds of glittering eyes blink at you in unison. The music screeches to a halt, bow scraping across string with a squeal that makes your teeth hurt. The silence is suffocating. Then, as if on cue, the entire tavern erupts into laughter, high-pitched, wheezy, unrestrained. A dozen voices shout overlapping greetings. "Big one's here! Lost lamb wandered in! Look at the hands on him! Can you milk a cow with those?" The bartender lurches closer. His head is a burlap sack, stitched in a smile that doesn't quite line up. Moss sprouts from the seams. He lifts a mug that would barely hold a tablespoon and shoves it toward you. "First drinks on the house, traveler." You peer into the mug. It's empty. The sprites explode in laughter again, wings buzzing so fast the air hums. One with dragonfly wings zips close enough to your ear to whisper, "Careful, drink it anyway." Then it zips off, cackling. You sigh, tip the mug back, and pantomime swallowing. The crowd erupts in cheers, tiny fists pounding the tables. The music slams back into life, fiddles and drums pounding out an even wilder tune. Within seconds, the tavern is chaos again. A sprite with moth wings the size of your palm lands on your shoulder. "You've got the box," it says flatly, voice oddly deep for such a fragile frame. "We've seen it swinging in the lantern woods. He'll be after you soon." You keep your voice low. He being the gnome king, I'm guessing? The sprite nods solemnly, then ruins the gravitas by hiccuping glitter into your collar. He cheats, always cheats. But we know things. Things. The moth-wing sprite leans closer, antennae twitching against your cheek. The box doesn't like being solved. It likes watching you try. That's the trick. If you play by his rules, you lose, always. You need to bend things. I raise an eyebrow. And you're telling me this because it's funny. The sprite grins, teeth needle sharp. Also, because if you beat him, his crown cracks. And when his crown cracks, we get to drink something better than mushroom beer for once. The bartender slams a ladle on the counter. Tabs open. Who's gambling for secrets tonight? The tavern roars. Dice and cards appear on every table, and in the corner you see a sprite spinning a wheel made of beetle shells. It clicks ominously every time it turns. The moth-wing sprite tugs your ear. Play. They'll test you. If you pass, maybe you walk out with something useful. You glance down at the box, which hums faintly, eager. Around you, the tavern's laughter thickens, every pair of glittering eyes daring you to sit at the table. Fine, you mutter. One game. But if this ends with me owing a lifetime supply of toenails or something, I'm blaming you. The sprite laughs so hard it nearly fell off your shoulder. Oh, don't worry. It's never toenails. Comforting. You step toward the nearest table, dice already rattling in a cup, the crowd chanting in a dozen overlapping voices. Whatever this game is, you're about to find out whether it costs you more than you can afford.
The table is sticky with spilled drink and smeared pollen dust, and the sprites around it are vibrating with anticipation. They shove aside thimble-sized mugs and beetle shell plates to make room for you. Someone thrusts a wooden stool in your direction. It's far too small, clearly not built for human weight. You sit anyway. The stool groans under you like it's cursing your family line. A sprite with translucent cicada wings leans in, eyes glowing faintly green. "The raven runs the game tonight," it whispers. "Careful, it bites." The crowd hushes. Fiddles cutting off mid-note, wings stilling. A sound tick-ticks through the tavern, metallic and deliberate. From the rafters above, something unfolds itself, a mechanical bird, gleaming black, each feather a shard of polished steel. Its eyes burn ember red, and when it lands on the table, the wood smokes faintly under its claws. The raven tilts its head, gears whirring softly inside. Then it speaks, not a caw, but words, smooth and sharp. "One wager. Win, and knowledge is yours. Lose, and your tongue becomes mine." You glance at the moth-winged sprite, still perched on your shoulder. It grins and gives a thumbs up, as if losing your tongue is a minor inconvenience, like forgetting your umbrella. The raven drops a small wooden riddle box onto the table. Unlike the cube under your arm, this one is simple, just a cube with sliding panels etched with lines and dots. "Open it," the raven says. That's it. No dice, no cards, no wheel of beetles, just this plain puzzle box. The crowd leans closer, wings rustling in excitement. You place your lantern on the edge of the table, its glow stretching shadows across the box. You turn it in your hands. The panels shift easily, each move changing the edge to patterns. At first glance, it seems straightforward. Align the dots into a path. Too straightforward. You mutter, "Feels like a trick." The raven clicks its beak. Of course it is. The sprites titter. Someone shouts, "Bet he tries the corner first." Another, "No, he'll flip it upside down like all the big folk do." Coins clatter onto the table as bets are placed on how you'll fail. You breathe slowly, thumb brushing the puzzle's grooves. The cube hums faintly, but not like the warm throb of the king's box. This one feels eager, almost nervous. You shift a panel, the dots realign, but instead of forming a path, they create an eye, staring back at you. The tavern roars with laughter. The raven's claws scrape the table, leaving charred streaks. Not so clever. You smirk. First moves don't count. You slide another panel, twist the cube. Again, the pattern forms something mocking, a mouth this time, grinning wide. The sprites shriek with delight, slamming mugs. The raven's eyes flare brighter. Your time drains. The box in your arm, the real puzzle, burns hotter suddenly, almost like it's reacting to this smaller imitation. You glance down at it, then back at the raven's toy. The moth-winged sprite whispers in your ear. Remember what we told you. The box doesn't want solving. It wants watching. Stall it. Your grin sharpens. You stop fiddling with the cube, place it flat on the table, and meet the raven's ember gaze. Nope. The tavern falls silent. Even the smoke curling from the chimney pauses. The raven's head jerks sideways, mechanical feathers grinding. What do you mean, nope? I'm not playing. That's the trick, right? The moment I try to solve it, I'm already playing your game, so I'll just not. For the first time, the raven glitches. Its gears skip with a shrill squeal, sparks flickering from its beak. The sprites gasp, then burst into hysterical laughter. "He refused! He refused!" one squealed, falling off a stool. The raven slams its claws onto the table, splitting the wood. Impossible. Apparently not. You push the cube gently back towards it. Keep your toy. The tavern explodes into cheers, the sound deafening in the cramped room. Coins fly, mugs spill, wings flash like strobe lights. Even the burlap-headed bartender slams his moss-stuffed fists on the counter in glee. The raven shudders, metal feathers rattling. Then, with a sound like a snapped chain, it ejects a scrap of paper from its beak. It flutters onto the table in front of you. The bird lets out one final static, cracked screech before bursting upward in a spray of sparks, vanishing into the rafters. The moth-winged sprite snatches the paper, unfolds it, and presses it into your hand. Scrawled in shaky ink are 5 words. Ask what he forbids asking. Your pulse quickens. A hint, real this time. Not how to solve the king's box, but how to unsettle it. The tavern resumes its chaos as if nothing happened, fiddles screeching back to life, dice rattling again, mugs slamming. The moth-winged sprite pats your cheek. See? Not so bad. You still have your tongue. For now. You tuck the scrap into your pocket, clutch the real puzzle tighter, and push through the crowd towards the window you came in from. The laughter follows you out, bright and sharp, echoing long after you've slipped back into the night air. And now, somewhere above the treetops, a metal raven flies back to its master, gears grinding out your name.
The tavern's glow shrinks behind you until it's swallowed by the mist. The forest presses closer, damp leaves brushing your shoulders, the smell of earth and fungus crawling up your nostrils. Your lantern burns low, but the puzzle box against your ribs radiates its own strange heat, like carrying a chunk of fever. You swear it beats faster every time you check the pocket where the raven's note is folded. Ask what he forbids asking. The words scratch at the back of your mind. You follow a path that wasn't there before. Lantern posts again, but these lean like drunks, glass cracked, their flames sputtering green instead of orange. They guide you downward into a wide hollow. The fog thins here, not because the air clears, but because it's shoved aside by light. Dozens of stalls stretch out in a circle, glowing with unnatural colors. It's a market. Not the kind you'd find in any human town. One stall displays jars full of bottled laughter, tiny bubbles rising inside glass, giggles echoing faintly whenever you tap a lid. Another sells clocks with no hands, their faces spinning slowly while muttering to themselves in clockwork voices. One merchant hawks knives carved from frozen shadows. Another piles up books whose pages shuffle themselves like nervous decks of cards. And everywhere, gnomes. Not the king, not yet, but his people. Their caps droop like wilted flowers, their eyes gleam beady in the lantern light, and their teeth are a touch too sharp for the size of their mouths. They haggle viciously with sprites, barter curses to goblins, and sometimes pause just long enough to sniff the air like hounds catching a scent. Your stomach knots. One wrong move and you'll be noticed. But you need something from here. You can feel it. A map, maybe. Some clue leading deeper toward the king. You duck between stalls, keeping your lantern low. A merchant with tusks curling out of her cheeks croaks, "Looking for something that's not for sale?" Her stall overflows with parchment, scrolls, maps, star charts written in red ink that seems to crawl across the paper. You hesitate. "Maybe." She grins. "Good, that's the most expensive kind." She slaps a map down, its edges crawling like it's alive. The ink twists until it forms a diagram of the hollow hill, spiraling paths descending inward. And there, at the bottom, marked with a black crown, the King's Hall. Your chest tightens. This is it. "How much?" She chuckles, a wet, gurgling sound. "Not coin. I don't take coin." Of course not. None of them do. Her eyes narrow, tusks glistening. "A memory. First kiss, favorite song, smell of your mother's kitchen, something tender, something you'll miss." The box under your arm burns hotter, as if urging you not to pay, but her claws tap the map, patient. Before you can decide, a shout breaks across the market. "There!" Heads snap toward you. A gnome points, mouth stretching in a smile too wide. The others follow his gaze. You snatch the map without thinking, crumple it into your jacket. The tusked merchant howls in protest, but the gnomes are already moving. Too fast, too many. Their little boots pound the soil. Their teeth glint under the sickly green lantern light. They chase you between aisles of impossible wares, their voices chanting your description. "Tall one, human, bucks thief." A jar shatters under your boot, laughter spilling into the air, wrapping your legs in choking giggles. You kick free, lungs burning. Ahead, the stalls thin, the fog rises again. You shove past a rack of skeletal umbrellas and burst into the trees. The gnomes follow. Their caps bob in the mist, red as bloodied tongues. Their voices overlap. "Catch him! Take it back! King will peel his mind!" Your boots pound mud, branches whip your face. The box is hot enough to blister now, but you can't let go. You slam through ferns, leap a stream, stumble on roots. The shouts grow louder, closer. Then, salvation or another trap. You don't care which, a hollow in the hillside, yawning wide, its edges glowing faintly with carved runes, the same runes from the stolen map. You dive inside, darkness swallows you whole. Behind, the gnomes stop short at the threshold. They hiss, mutter, spit, but none cross. Their eyes burn in the fog like coals. One raises a fist and shrieks, "You won't crawl out again, thief!" Then silence, only your ragged breathing, echoing down the stone throat of the hollow hill.
The air in the hollow hill is colder, denser, like breathing through wet wool. Your lantern barely fights back the dark, its glow swallowed after only a few feet. The stolen map crinkles in your jacket, hot against your ribs, as if the ink knows you're finally inside its territory. The box radiates steadily, no longer pulsing in rhythm with your heart, but thrumming like machinery warming up. The tunnel slopes downward, cut smooth into spirals.
Each step echoes too long, bouncing off walls that curve unnaturally, as though grown rather than carved. The stone has veins of quartz, glimmering faintly like trapped lightning. As you descend, faint murals begin to emerge along the walls, etched deep into the stone. You stop to study the first. It shows the gnome king, not crowned, not yet, standing among others of his kind. He's taller than the rest, chest puffed, holding something small and box-shaped. Even in crude etching, his smugness is unmistakable. The next mural shows him tricking a line of humans, their hands stretched out, eyes empty as though hypnotized, while he tucks the cube behind his back. You mutter, "Guy's been at this a while." Further down, another mural, the king on a throne of gears, crown of beetles crawling on his head. At his feet lie broken puzzle boxes, each etched with faint spiral patterns. Dozens, maybe hundreds, failed attempts by others who tried to outsmart him, or discarded toys he grew bored of. The detail makes your stomach knot. The whispers you heard beneath the roots return here, but softer, not quite words, more like the rustling of pages. You run your hand along the carvings and feel warmth seep into your palm. The mural hums faintly, vibrating with memory. At the next bend, the spiral opens into a cavernous chamber. The ceiling disappears into shadows, stalactites glinting faintly like teeth. Across the walls stretch the grandest mural yet. This one is alive, literally. The figures etched in stone move in slow, jerky loops, repeating scenes. You see the Gnome King sitting at a banquet table, box before him, guests leaning forward eagerly. The guests change shape with every cycle, sometimes humans, sometimes elves, sometimes things with too many eyes, but the pattern is always the same. They reach for the box, try desperately to twist or solve it, fail and crumble to dust. The king laughs, crown glittering, while the box grows larger in his hands each time. The moving etching stutters, then rewinds itself, forcing you to watch again. Your skin crawls. Something shifts behind you. You swing the lantern, its glow landing on a pair of statues carved from the cavern wall. Except they weren't here a second ago. Both resemble gnomes, squat and grinning, hands cupped as if begging. Their eyes are empty holes, but you swear they track your movement. The box under your arm flares, heat stabbing your ribs. The statues creak. Dust flakes off their joints. They take a step forward in eerie unison, hands still outstretched. You backpedal. Not interested, thanks. The statues lurch closer. Their grins widen, cracks spreading through the stone as though the expressions can't be contained. From their hollow mouths, dust pours like sand from an hourglass. You turn and bolt deeper into the cavern, boots slapping against damp stone. More statues loom ahead, tucked in alcoves, gnomes frozen mid-laughter, mid-dance, mid-plea. As you pass, their heads twitch. Dust spills. The murals shift too, scenes twitching faster as though sped up by your panic. In one, the king looks directly out of the wall at you, his etched grin widening beyond the stone's limits. You sprint, breath ragged, until a narrow crack in the wall offers escape. You squeeze through, scraping your shoulders, lantern clanging against rock. Behind, the grinding of stone limbs grows louder, chasing you like grinding millstones. The crack opens into another passage, narrower but blessedly free of statues. You collapse against the wall, chest heaving. The echoes of grinding fade slowly, reluctantly, as though the statues gave up only because the passage was too tight. Your lantern's flame dances violently, smoke curling in the confined air. You hold the map up, its ink twisting until it matches your location. Spiral descent, first chamber, second chamber, then a crooked stair. You're exactly where it said you'd be, and at the bottom, waiting, is the crown-marked chamber. You stuff the map away, grip the box tighter, and start down again. The murals no longer move, but their carved eyes seem wider now, as though the stone itself is waiting for you to fail.
The spiral narrows into stairs, jagged, uneven, each slick with moss. You descend slowly, lantern lifted, box hugged against your side like a stubborn pet that refuses to be left home. The air thickens with the smell of herbs and smoke, and soon a faint orange glow pulses ahead. You round the bend into a chamber so cluttered it feels like stepping into someone's attic. Shelves line the walls, stacked with jars of powders and roots dangling like desiccated bats. A cauldron burps in the center, its contents glowing faintly green, steam curling into shapes that try to form faces before dissolving. And there she is, the hedge witch. Old, hunched, wrapped in too many shawls that look like they were stolen from scarecrows. Her hair is a wild tangle, streaked with gray and knotted with sprigs of rosemary. One eye is milky white, the other sharp and yellow, glaring at you as if you're late for an appointment she never scheduled. "Well," she rasps, stirring her cauldron with a spoon longer than your arm. "The king's toy thief finally arrives." You freeze mid-step. "You know about that?" She laughs, a sound like snapping twigs. "Child, everyone knows. The trees gossip, the roots whine, the crows scream your name every time they cough up their feathers. Sit." She points with her spoon at a chair that wasn't there a moment ago, rickety and too small for your size. You sit anyway because, honestly, arguing feels like tempting fate. The witch's good eye flicks to the box under your arm. "It's clever, isn't it? But clever in the way of cheaters. He made it so no one wins. It doesn't reward answers. It feeds on the struggle, the scratching of minds against impossible walls." You glance at the cube, which pulses once as though smug. Sounds like my high school math teacher. The witch snorts, ladle splashing green droplets that hiss when they hit the floor. "The king cheats at everything. Dice, riddles, wagers of strength. His crown is stitched from lies. He'd rather twist the rules than admit weakness. If you fight him by his own game, you'll lose, always." "So what do I do?" you ask. She leans closer, her breath thick with sage and smoke. "You break his game. Find the rule he cannot bend without shattering his own crown." You pull out the scrap from the raven, its ink still sharp. Ask what he forbids asking. You set it on the table between you. "This mean anything?" The witch stares at the paper, her milky eye clouding further. "Yes, dangerous, very dangerous." She leans back, stirring again. "The king fears questions he cannot dodge. Ask him what his crown eats. Ask him why his puzzle grows heavier when left unsolved. Ask him who built the first box before he stole the idea. But do not..." She slams the spoon down, rattling jars. "Do not ask the wrong one, or the puzzle will eat you." That does wonders for your confidence. The witch cackles at your expression. "Don't scowl. You asked for wisdom, not comfort." She lifts a jar from her shelf, uncorks it, and shakes out a handful of glittering dust. It glows faintly red in her palm. "Here, an edge. This powder will jam his gears, twist his illusions. Use it sparingly. Sprinkle it on the puzzle if it turns against you." You hesitate before taking it. "And the cost?" Her grin splits her face.
Oh, darling, you already paid. Sitting here cost you. Breathing this air cost you. The forest always collects. You'll know what when you miss it. Your skin prickles. You tuck the jar into your pocket anyway. Better cursed than unprepared. The witch resumes her stirring, dismissing you with a flap of her bony hand. Go on, thief. The king's toys are already looking for you. Hear them? And yes, you do. From deeper in the tunnels comes the sound of creaking wood, steady and rhythmic, like toy soldiers marching in perfect unison. Their footsteps echo closer, precise, relentless. You stand, lantern raised. The witch's cackles softly into her cauldron. Run, thief, run before you learn how they carve smiles into unwilling faces. The footsteps are louder now, unmistakable. The witch's chamber trembles slightly as though something massive is approaching. You back toward the exit. The puzzle box throbs in your arms, eager, almost hungry for the chase. Then you're out, into the spiral again, lantern swinging wildly as the creaking steps of wooden soldiers follow.
The spiral trembles under your boots, the sound of wood grinding against stone echoing up the tunnel. The creak is too regular, too precise. It's not the stumble of flesh, but the march of something built, assembled. You don't dare look back yet. The sound alone tells you enough. Your lantern flickers as you hurry downward. The puzzle box, hot against your ribs, vibrates like a heart about to burst. Its rhythm matches the wooden cadence, as though it's welcoming the soldiers, not fearing them. You reach a landing where the passage widens into a circular chamber. The floor is tiled with alternating black and white squares, cracked and uneven. In the center stands a tall toy soldier. Wooden, painted, its face blank but for two round black eyes drilled deep into the grain. Its mouth is a painted smile, but the paint drips like old blood. Its arms bend at stiff joints, one holding a wooden musket, the other hanging loose. Behind it, the stairs continue deeper. You take a cautious step forward. The soldier creaks its head toward you, the motion jerky, too sharp. Then another sound rises, a rattling chorus. From the tunnel above, more footsteps descend, dozens, maybe more. You mutter, "Oh, fantastic, wooden TSA." The soldier slams its musket against the tiles. The crack echoes like a warning shot. The box pulses. A seam shifts across its surface, twisting on its own. You almost drop it, but the witch's jar of red powder rattles in your pocket, reminding you of her words, "Sprinkle if it turns against you." Not yet. You hold it tighter. The soldier lurches forward, musket raised. Its feet scrape the tiles in stiff rhythm. The box hums louder, like it wants to answer the toy in kind. You dart left, skirting around the edge of the chamber. The soldier jerks to match your movement, but its joints grind noisily, slow compared to your sprint. You leap across broken tiles and dash toward the stair on the far side. But the chorus above is closer now. Shadows stretch across the ceiling as more soldiers march into view, small ones, tall ones, all with painted smiles and hollow black eyes. Your throat tightens. Nope. You shove the box into your jacket and grab the jar. With one sharp motion, you fling a pinch of the witch's red powder into the soldier's face. The effect is immediate. The paint bubbles, warping into grotesque swirls. The soldier's head jerks violently, spinning too far on its neck joint. Its musket clatters from its grip as the wood splits open with a scream that sounds far too human for something carved. The red powder burns across its chest like glowing veins, and then it collapses, a heap of splinters, smoke curling from the remains. The other soldiers hesitate at the sight. Their march falters, steps no longer perfectly in sync. For a moment, the tunnel behind is filled with stuttering shadows, their rhythm broken. You seize the chance and sprint down the far stair. Your boots hammer the stone, breath burning your throat, lantern flame flaring wild. The soldiers shriek behind you, wooden voices rattling like wind through hollow pipes. Their march resumes, faster now, driven by something more than command. The stair narrows until you scrape your shoulders against the walls. The soldiers don't fit as easily. Their wood cracks against stone, their bodies splintering as they squeeze. The sound grates in your ears, but at least it slows them. You push harder, lungs aching. The stair spills into another chamber, this one bare but for a single object. A wooden rocking horse, full-sized, painted white with red spirals for eyes. It rocks gently on its own, though no one rides it. The box in their jacket thrums like it recognizes family. You circle wide, not touching the horse, not trusting the way its eyes follow you. The far wall holds another stair, leading deeper still. Behind, the soldiers shriek again. Splinters rain down the stairwell, wooden limbs scraping their way closer. You race past the horse, refusing to look when it whispers your name. The stair yawns before you, black and endless. And down you go, lantern shaking in your hand, the sound of wooden claws scraping stone, following close behind.
The stair twists so tightly, it feels like you're circling a giant screw, drilling yourself deeper into the earth. Your lantern flame sputters with each breathless step, shadows stretching like claws that reach for your ankles. The scrape of wooden joints above never fades. They splinter, they grind, they shriek, but they keep coming. You clutch the box under your jacket. It vibrates harder the lower you go, a heartbeat growing frantic. Your ribs ache where it presses. For a moment you swear the box isn't vibrating at all. It's laughing, low and muffled, like a joke shared behind your back. Finally, the spiral vomits you into a cavern, wide, hollow. The ceiling so high your lantern can't reach it. Stalactites drip water into pools, the plink, 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 like a warped metronome. And there, looming in the half-light, stands the throne. Not carved from stone, not shaped from wood, but cobbled from broken puzzle boxes, hundreds of them, each splintered, cracked, and fused together with iron bands and copper wires. Gears jut from the structure like tumors, some still spinning lazily. And sitting upon it, the Gnome King. Smaller than you expected, barely reaching your chest, but the crown makes him taller. It writhes, a circlet of golden insects crawling endlessly around his brow. His eyes gleam like wet coins, and his smile, too wide for his face, shows teeth like polished stones. "Well," he says, voice sharp as snapped twigs, "the thief arrives. Do you bring me my toy?" You freeze. He knows. Of course he knows. The soldiers rattle behind you, their wooden forms shoving through the stairmouth, splinters snapping as they force themselves into the chamber. The king raises a lazy hand, and they halt mid-motion. Their jaws grind, eyes empty, but they freeze in place like marionettes waiting for the next tug of string. The silence hums. You clear your throat. "So, nice throne. Very sustainable, all that recycling." The king's grin sharpens. "Clever tongue. Does it wag as quick as your mind?" He leans forward, elbows on knees. The crown insects crawl down his face and burrow into his beard, only to reappear at his temples. "You stole from me, yet you survived the roots, the statues, the toys. Impressive for one so tall and slow." The box thrums in your jacket. The king's eyes flick toward it instantly. "Bring it." Every muscle in your body screams no. The witch's words claw back into your memory. He cheats at everything. Don't play his game. Break it. But the soldiers creak in place, their jaws snapping like kindling. The king's fingers twitch as though he's seconds from snapping them into motion. Slowly, you pull the box free. Its surface is hotter than ever, seams writhing across it like worms under skin. The king's grin widens at the sight. "Ah," he purrs, bopping down from his throne with unnerving speed. His little boots click softly as he approaches, crown insects dripping golden legs across his brow. "My heart, my hunger, my crown's breath.
Give it here. You hold it tighter, sweat slicking your palms. What happens if I solve it? The king stops mid-step, his grin fixed but twitching at the corners. Solve? Solve? My little thief, you do not solve the unsolvable. You feed it. You keep it hungry. Keep it gnawing. Solving it would end the game, and then what fun would I have? The air vibrates. The soldiers twitch, their painted smiles snapping wider. The king leans closer. Now, hand it over, or perhaps you'd like to join my toys. I do so love new wood. The witch's jar weighs heavy in your pocket. The raven's scrap burns against your chest. Ask what he forbids asking. The king extends one hand, palm up. His nails are copper, filed to sharp points. Last chance, tall thief. Box or bones? Your heart hammers, but something inside you steadies. If he cheats, then the only way through is sideways. You grip the box tighter, stare him dead in those coin-bright eyes, and open your mouth.
The words stick in your throat for a beat, but then you let them spill. What did the first crown eat? The Gnome King freezes. His outstretched hand trembles, the copper nails tapping once against his palm like a drumbeat. For the first time, the endless grin cracks. Not gone, not erased, but twitching. The soldiers behind you grind their teeth in unison, wood splintering from the pressure. The chamber hums like a bow drawn across a cello string. The king's voice, when it comes, is quiet. That question, he says slowly, is not permitted. Oh, right, my bad. Should have stuck with, how's the weather? But the damage is done. His crown of beetles writhes faster, gold shells clicking nervously. His eyes dart to the box in your hands. You do not ask what was forbidden. The crown feeds on silence, on ignorance. It is weakened by memory. So that's the crack, not the puzzle. The king himself. Before he can lunge, a new sound thunders across the chamber. Metal on metal, hammer on anvil. It doesn't echo from the walls. It rings inside your skull, like your head is suddenly a forge. The king snarls. That sound again? The meddling smith. And you hear it too. Words carried on the clang, a deep voice, steady, booming with sparks. Child of puzzles, turn right, stone wall, open. You whirl. To your right, one slab of cavern wall glows faintly red, veins of molten light running across it. The king spits, crown writhing, his soldiers jerking forward a half step. You don't think, you move, charging the wall, box hugged to your chest, lantern swinging. You slap your palm against the glowing stone. It shudders, cracks, spiderweb out, and then, with a groan, the slab swings inward like a hidden door. Heat rolls out, washing over you, carrying the scent of iron and coal. The king shrieks, a sound like tearing bark. Do not run to him, the smith bends rules that were mine first. But you're already through. The door slams behind, cutting off the soldier's march, cutting off the king's rage. The chamber you enter is blindingly bright compared to the gloom. Forges line the walls, each belching flame. Chains dangle from the ceiling, clinking softly. And there, hammering at an anvil larger than your whole body, is the smith. Not dwarf, not man, not anything so simple. He is carved from stone and bronze, his beard a river of molten sparks, his shoulders broad enough to hold mountains. Each strike of his hammer sends ripples through the floor. He doesn't look up when he speaks, voice rolling like thunder. So, the thief comes at last, bearing the hunger cube, bearing questions the crown cannot endure. You catch your breath, the box still hot in your arms. And you are... He slams one more blow before finally raising his head. His eyes are furnace doors, glowing white with heat. The one who forged the first trick, the puzzle before puzzles. I gave the king his toy to keep him busy, but he cheated. He always cheats. Of course, even gods apparently fall for lending things they shouldn't. You edge closer. Can you fix it, break it? Do something that doesn't involve me becoming a wooden lawn ornament. The smith rumbles low, setting his hammer aside. He leans forward, massive arms braced on the anvil. No one brigs what is unsolvable, but you may twist it, tilt the board so the cheater falls from it. The box squirms in your grip, seams wriggling like worms under pressure. The smith's gaze hardens. Careful, child, hold it too long and it will solve you. That phrase does wonders for your blood pressure. The smith extends a hand the size of a cartwheel. In its center rests a tool, not a weapon, not a key, but a wedge of black metal shaped like a question mark. It hums, vibrating against your teeth even from a distance. Take this, a lever of doubt. With it, you can pry apart the king's own rules. He cannot endure when his game is turned against him. You reach for it, hesitant. And the cost? His molten eyes flare. Cost, you bear it already. Every choice is a trade. You will see when the crown falls. The wedge is heavier than expected, almost too much for one hand. It pulses in rhythm with the box, like the two recognize each other. The forge crackles, embers spitting as the smith draws back, hammering again. Go, he will come for you soon, and he will be hungry. The hidden door behind you rattles, wood splintering as the soldiers hammer against it. The king's voice seeps through the cracks, shrill and furious. Give me my toy, thief! You cannot cheat a cheater!
The stone door buckles, dust raining down in gritty streams. The pounding grows frantic, each thud of wooden fists rattling through your bones. The smith keeps hammering at his anvil, sparks bursting in waves, but he doesn't turn. Go, he repeats, voice thunder wrapped in iron. This chamber won't hold forever. The lever works only once. Make it count. The wedge hums in your grip, burning cold instead of hot. Strange, like holding ice that vibrates. The box, pressed to your ribs, kicks against you like an angry heart. Both pulse in tandem, building towards something that feels like a countdown. The door splits. A dozen carved hands burst through, fingers snapping like kindling. Painted eyes glow through the cracks. Then, with a splintering roar, the soldiers surge into the forge chamber. And behind them, crawling in last, like a spider dragging too many legs, comes the gnome king. His crown insects spill across his forehead, dripping down his neck in writhing golden rivulets. His smile is wider than ever, teeth clacking. Did you think, he hisses, you could hide in fire? Even the forge bends when the crown commands it. The soldiers fan out, boots pounding the stone floor in perfect rhythm. They circle, musket butts raised, wooden jaws grinding. You glance at the smith, still hammering, ignoring the invasion entirely. His molten eyes burn hotter, but he offers no help. Just one more booming strike, as if to say, "This part is yours." Your throat goes dry. All right then, let's play. The king scuttles closer, moving strangely, too fast for his stubby frame. His grin flickers when he sees the wedge glint in your hand. "No," he snaps, voice cracking like timber. "That is not for you. The smith meddles. He lies. Put it down." You can't resist a jab. Funny, he said the exact same thing about you. The king shrieks, voice sharp enough to rattle the chains above. His soldiers close in, wooden feet clacking like teeth on stone. The crown insects swarm faster across his brow, their gold bodies chittering. The wedge thrums louder, shaking your bones, pulling toward the box. You realize the choice is here and now. Join the wedge to the puzzle or hold off and gamble. The king lunges, claws snapping. You dodge, rolling hard against the forge floor. Pain sparks in your ribs, but you don't let go. You twist the wedge harder. The box splits, not solved, not opened, but cracked. And from that crack pours a swarm of lights, tiny motes darting like fireflies. They streak straight into the soldiers. One by one, the toys collapse, limbs disjointed, painted faces dissolving. They're not destroyed, they're freed. The lights burst from their shells and whirl toward the ceiling, vanishing into the dark. The king screams, clutching his crown, as the insects writhe madly, scattering down his face like sparks from a fire. "No, no, no, without silence, without hunger, I am nothing. Give it back." The box pulses one last time, then goes still. The wedge falls from your hand, clattering against the floor like dead weight. You're left holding something lighter, smaller, almost harmless. Just a cube of plain wood, the seams gone, its surface smooth. The laughter is gone. The Gnome King crawls toward you, his grin broken, teeth cracked, his eyes flicker like dying candles. "Please," he whispers, voice shrill and small now. "Feed it again, bind it again. I will give you crowns, gold, power, anything. Just don't end the game." The smith finally looks up from his hammering, eyes white-hot, gaze fixed on you. He doesn't speak, but the weight of his silence is clear. The king wheezes at your feet, crown half dead, voice trembling. "Without the puzzle, I am hollow." Your pulse hammers. The plain box rests cool and quiet in your hands. And the choice, keep it broken or bargain with the king, is yours alone.
The king clutches at your boots, his tiny fingers digging into your ankle with surprising strength. His wide eyes shimmer like wet coins, desperate. "Feed it again," he rasps. "One twist, one lie, and it will bind once more. I'll forget you cheated. I'll make you my heir, my shadow, my crown's second tongue." You yank your foot back, shaking him loose. His nails screech against the stone, leaving faint copper trails. For the first time since you saw him, his grin isn't wide. It's cracked, broken, trembling. The smooth box in your palm feels heavier now, though it's nothing more than wood. Silent, inert. It almost feels like a corpse. The wedge lies near your heel, motionless, just a twisted hook of dead metal. Behind you, the smith lets his hammer rest. The glow of his forge softens, coals settling into a steady red. His voice rumbles through the chamber. "The crown is weak, the game undone, but hunger does not die. You must choose what to do with it." The king scrambles upright, tottering on his stubby legs. His crown of beetles twitches faintly, half the insects dead, half crawling sluggishly.
He points a trembling claw at the smith. "He forges chains, not choices. He gave me the box to keep me small, to keep me busy. You freed it, yes, but now you can rule it. You can make rules instead of breaking them. Don't throw that power to ash." Your head swims. The heat of the forge, the smell of molten iron, the metallic taste on your tongue, it all presses down. The king's offer dangles like a poisoned candy. You speak without planning. "What happens if I keep it broken?" The smith's eyes flare brighter. Then hunger disperses. The crown loses its teeth. Silence gives way to noise, ignorance to memory. The forest breathes again. The king hisses, clutching his skull. "And you drown in it. Too much memory, too many voices. The noise will choke you. Only the crown can tune it." The chamber shivers. A low moan seeps from the walls. A sound that isn't quite wind, isn't quite voices. It's as though the forest itself has pressed its ear to the stone, waiting for your decision. You hold the box tighter. It doesn't writhe, doesn't laugh, just waits. The king staggers closer, his grin struggling to return. "Think, tall one. You've already proven you're cleverer than me. Imagine wielding the crown without my weakness. Imagine a kingdom where puzzles bend to you, not the other way around. Keep the hunger. Rule the silence." The smith snarls, the sound like mountains grinding. "Do not listen. His rule is lies on lies. What he promises will rot your marrow." "Better marrow than madness," the king snaps back, crown insects crawling down his cheeks like tears. You stare between them. Stone giant glowing like a furnace, gnome king quivering like a snapped spring. Both waiting, both insisting. The plain box sits in your hand, weightless and infinite at once. Your mouth is dry, your words scrape. "Maybe I don't give it to either of you." Both freeze. The smith tilts his head, molten eyes narrowing. The king's grin falters again, teeth bared in confusion. "What do you mean?" You lift the box higher, its wooden surface dull against the forge light. "If it's unsolvable, if it only feeds when we play the game, then maybe the only winning move is no move at all. No feeding, no binding, just nothing." The silence that follows is unbearable. Then the king screams, a raw, furious wail, his whole body vibrating. "No, you cannot starve it! You cannot starve me! Without the game, there is no crown, no kingdom, no me!" He lunges, claws outstretched, teeth flashing. You react without thinking. You hurl the box straight into the forge. The impact is immediate. The wooden cube hits the coals with a dull thunk, then bursts into light. Not fire, not ash, light, pure, white, endless. The forge roars, flames bending upward like towers of glass. The king shrieks, clawing at his crown as it dissolves into dust. His body convulses, legs kicking, teeth cracking like porcelain. One last cry echoes through the chamber, high, thin, pitiful, and then he's gone. Only a scatter of copper nails clatters across the stone where he stood. The crown insects burn away, their golden shells popping like seeds in flame. The forge slowly settles, the light dimming. In its place, nothing remains. No cube, no wedge, no hunger. The smith exhales, a rumble that shakes the chains above. He nods once, massive shoulders sagging. "So, you chose silence for silence.
bold, perhaps wise. The ground trembles beneath your boots. Far above, muffled but certain, you hear the forest itself shift. Trees groan as though stretching for the first time in centuries. Birds cry out. Water runs freely. The smith picks up his hammer again. It is done. The Gnome King is no more. His games are ended. Your knees nearly buckle with relief. The chamber smells of iron and ozone. You wipe your bloody arm on your sleeve and laugh just once, short, disbelieving. Guess I broke the unbreakable. The smith's molten eyes flicker, unreadable. Or perhaps you only ended one round.
The forge's glow lingers in your eyes even after the fire dims. The silence that follows isn't oppressive like before. It's alive, whispery, almost curious. You realize with a shiver that the forest above is speaking again, roots and leaves murmuring like a choir half a mile overhead. You turn to the smith, ready to demand answers, but he's already moving. His enormous hands gather his tools with methodical precision, slotting tongs and hammers into stone slots as though nothing unusual just happened. Wait, you say, throat still raw from smoke. That's it? He's gone? The box? The king? The crown? Finished? The smith doesn't look up. His glowing eyes remain fixed on the embers. One hunger gone. Others remain, always. But this one was old and loud and needed ending. Not exactly comforting. Your knees ache from the stone floor, so you push yourself upright, swaying slightly. The forge chamber feels emptier now, though maybe that's because the frantic vibration in your ribs is gone. No box gnawing at your chest, no crown insects crawling in the corner of your eye. For the first time since entering this cursed place, your body belongs entirely to you. The smith finally lifts his head. You should leave. The paths above are shifting. The forest opens itself again. Wait too long, and you'll be buried under roots when they settle. You glance at the tunnel where the soldiers once poured through. It's nothing now, just a jagged mouth of cracked stone dripping with condensation. No scraping of wood, no glow of false eyes. Still you hesitate. And you? What happens to you? The smith smiles faintly, lips splitting like old stone. I hammer. That is all I do. My task was never to leave. He lowers the final tool into place, then sinks onto his anvil as though it were a throne. His molten gaze dims until it's little more than a candle flame. Dismissed. You take a long breath, then another. Fine. If he wants to sit and smolder until the end of time, that's his choice. You have your own. The tunnel walls seem narrower on your way back, as if the stone itself is shrinking to usher you out. The air grows cooler, fresher, carrying hints of moss instead of iron. Your boots crunch on loose gravel, echoing too loudly in your ears. The climb is brutal. Muscles tremble, lungs scrape. More than once you slip on damp stone and catch yourself with a curse. But slowly, the oppressive pressure of the deep earth lightens. And then you hear it. Wind. Real wind, not the dead drafts that used to sigh through the gnome tunnels. It whips faintly down the passage, carrying the smells of pine and wet bark. Your pace quickens. The final bend spits you into the surface world. You stumble out, squinting as your eyes reel from the sudden openness. The forest greets you like something reborn. The canopy sways above, no longer rigid. Branches creak with new flexibility, their leaves whispering. Birds flit from limb to limb, wings flashing. The air feels breathable, vibrant, the heavy hush finally lifted. You tilt your head back and just stand there, letting it wash over you. The silence is gone, replaced by the murmur of life. For a moment, you think it's done. Quest over. You lived. Outsmarted the Gnome King. End credits, roll the applause. Then you notice the ground. Roots snake in slow motion, curling and shifting, rearranging themselves as though the forest is stretching.
They make space where there wasn't before, closing off paths you thought you knew while opening new ones in unexpected places. The witch's words echo back in your skull. Hunger never dies. It only changes tables. A rustle draws your eyes. A crow, no, the same crow, hops along a low branch, head cocked. Its beady eyes glint knowingly. A scrap of parchment dangles from its beak. You groan. You've got to be kidding me. Already? The bird caws once and drops the parchment at your feet. You unfold it. The handwriting is crooked, hurried but legible. Not finished. Something slipped. One more game. Your stomach knots. You glance around the forest, half expecting the Gnome King to crawl out of a hollow stump. But the shadows remain ordinary, the bird's song unbroken. Still your skin prickles. The crow ruffles its feathers, then launches skyward, vanishing into the canopy. The paper trembles in your fingers, as though the forest itself is breathing against it. You stuff it into your pocket with a curse. Fine, one more game, but I swear if this involves another smug little monarch. You start walking, roots shifting around your boots. Path uncertain. The forest is alive again, too alive, and something in it is waiting.
The forest seems to guide you, whether you like it or not. Each time you veer toward a familiar path, roots knit themselves together like locked fingers, forcing you back. When you hesitate, branches groan and shift overhead, shedding leaves that spiral to mark a direction forward. Yeah, no, this doesn't feel ominous at all, you mutter. The air grows thicker the deeper you go, heavy with the smell of wet bark and mushrooms. The bird song thins, replaced by a steady drumming you can't place, faint, pulsing, like a heartbeat buried beneath the soil. And then you see it. A clearing yawns ahead, ringed with ash-colored stones. At its center squats a massive stump, wide as a cottage, its surface blackened and cracked. Charred grooves radiate outward from the stump like scars, marking the ground in a jagged circle. You step cautiously into the clearing. The drumming grows louder here, rattling your ribs. It's not just beneath the soil, it's inside the stump itself, each beat making its cracked surface throb faintly. Something moves. You freeze, staring. For a moment you think it's just the play of shadow, but no, the cracks widen. From inside the stump, thin splinters wriggle outward, curling like fingers clawing free. And then the sound reaches your ears. Whispers. Thousands of them, leaking out between the splinters, babbling in dozens of voices at once. You recognize some. The witch, the smith, the Gnome King himself, shrill and furious, but also strangers, hunters, children, merchants, voices piled like a swarm. Your stomach lurches. The hunger didn't die. The stump shudders, and with a crack like splitting bone, a portion tears away. From the gap, something small tumbles out, a cube, half the size of the Gnome King's old box. Its surface is rough, scorched, but unmistakable. "Oh no," you whisper. The whispers surge, the cube vibrates on the stump, twitching as though eager to be picked up. You take a slow step back. Not happening. I'm not falling for the same trick twice. The ground disagrees. Roots whip upward around your ankles, not tight enough to bind, just enough to trip you. You stumble forward and catch yourself on the stump. Your palm lands inches from the cube. The voices rise into a frenzy. Take it, solve it, break it, feed it, feed it! You grit your teeth, shove yourself upright, and yank free of the roots. Yeah, you're really selling me on this. For a moment you consider walking away, just leaving it. Let the forest gnaw on its own puzzle. Let someone else get dragged into this. But deep down, you already know the truth. If you don't deal with it, the hunger will spread again. The king may be gone, but his game survives. The cube shifts, dragging itself an inch closer to the edge of the stump. Your skin crawls. And then, without warning, a voice cuts through the whispers, clear and sharp. "Don't touch it!" You spin, heart hammering. Standing at the edge of the clearing is the witch. Her eyes glitter in the dim light, sharper than the night you first met her. She looks thinner now, paler, her ragged cloak dripping with dew. But her presence is the same, wiry, dangerous, coiled with secrets. You blink. "How are you here? I thought—" She lifts a gnarled finger. "Later. Listen now. That is not a puzzle box. That is what remains when puzzles die. It will not play with you. It will eat you." The cube thrums on the stump as if mocking her. The whispers crash louder, overlapping until your skull aches. You shout to be heard. "Then why is it here? Why did the forest—" The witch strides forward, cutting you off. "Because you ended one game but left a gap. Nature despises gaps. Something must fill it. That," she points at the cube, "is the forest's attempt at making its own king." "A king made of puzzles?" She smirks faintly. "Worse, a king made of every unfinished puzzle ever touched, all their hungers stitched into one." The cube hums, a deep vibration now, its scorched surface glowing faintly red. Splinters curl from the stump like ribs. The witch steps close, her face inches from yours. Her voice drops to a rasp. "If you pick it up, you'll never set it down. If you destroy it, you'll wound the forest itself. If you leave it, it will crawl after you." You stare at the cube. Choices tighten like a noose around your throat. The whispers surge again, louder, almost giddy. "Choose, choose, choose." The whispers crash through your skull, hammering in overlapping layers until you can barely hear yourself think. The cube sits there on the stump, throbbing faintly with each pulse, as though the forest's heart is beating inside it. The witch grips your arm, her nails sharp as thorns. "Do not move until you understand. This is no toy. It will not bargain with you. It will not trick you with riddles. It will wear you like a glove until nothing of you is left." You wrench free, clutching your stinging arm. "Great! Fantastic! Thanks for the bedtime story. But that still leaves me with a nice little problem. If I can't take it, can't smash it, and can't ignore it, then what exactly am I supposed to do?" Her eyes glitter. "Outsmart it." You laugh once, sharp and tired. "Oh, sure. Outsmart the cube made of every unsolved hunger in history. No pressure." The witch doesn't flinch. She lowers herself slowly to the edge of the stump, cloak dragging in the dirt. "It wants to be solved. That is its weakness. But no one has ever asked it the right question." The cube shifts, turning slightly toward her voice as if listening. You swallow hard. "And what exactly counts as the right question?" She leans closer, her voice a whisper you can barely catch. "It wants your soul. Answer it properly, or it will claim it." Your heart pounds. You glance back at the cube, its surface glowing brighter now. The whispers snarl, layering into nonsense words. The roots around the clearing twitch, like the forest itself is impatient. You whisper, "A question with no answer?" The witch straightens, her face unreadable. "You will know it when it comes, but be careful. Ask wrong, and it will answer you, and its answer will live in your skull forever." "Again," you mutter, rubbing your temples. "Fantastic. No pressure." The cube hops suddenly, a sharp little jerk that sends cracks spiderwebbing across the stump. Splinters rain to the ground. The whispers shift from babble to chorus. Play, play, play. You feel your legs carrying you forward before you've decided. The witch doesn't stop you this time. She only watches, eyes narrow, as if judging how badly you'll mess this up. You stand before the cube. The glow sears your eyes. Your hand hovers above it. The whispers hush, dropping to a single murmur. It's waiting. You close your eyes. All right, let's see how you like this. The words come out before you fully thought them, bubbling from some reckless place in your chest. What is the taste of silence? The cube freezes. The forest does too. Every leaf, every root, every breath of wind halts. The hush is absolute, suffocating. Your ears ring with the absence of sound. Then slowly, cracks rip across the cube's surface. The glow sputters, dimming to embers. The whispers try to rise, but they choke, stumbling over themselves, unable to form an answer. The witch's breath hitches behind you. The cube quakes, rattling the stump, then erupts in a jagged scream, not from one voice but thousands, all howling at once. Splinters explode outward, whirling past your face. The ground bucks under your boots. The cube bursts open. Not into light this time, but into a black vapor, thick as smoke, writhing upward in tendrils. The voices ride the vapor, shrieking, clawing at the air. The witch throws up her hands, chanting something sharp and guttural. Symbols flicker along her skin, glowing green. The tendrils recoil slightly, but not enough. The vapor surges higher, twisting into a shape, a massive head, long-jawed and snarling, crowned with jagged branches. Its hollow eyes burn red. The witch screams over the roar, "You didn't trap it! You freed it!" Your stomach drops. Oh, perfect! The branch-crowned head lowers, its mouth opening wide, not with teeth, but with a black abyss that howls like the inside of a storm. The cube is gone. The hunger is not. You're standing in a clearing with nothing but your hands, a tired witch, and the forest itself turning against you. And the hunger has finally given itself a body.
The ground lurches under you, like it's trying to shake you off. Roots whip upward, lashing across your boots, some snapping close enough to bruise your shins. The hunger's new form rises higher, its branched, crowned head weaving through the clearing like smoke with bones. Its abyss mouth opens again, dragging at the air. Leaves rip free of branches and vanish into its void. Stones lift from the circle's edge and tumble inside. Even sound itself is being pulled toward it. The forest grows muffled, strangled, as though every noise is trying not to be eaten. "Move!" the witch shrieks. You don't argue. You dive sideways as a root spears upward where you just stood. Dirt rains down, choking your throat. You scramble back to your feet, lungs burning, eyes locked on that gaping black maw. The witch claws a line in the soil with her finger, muttering words sharp enough to slice your ears. A green wall of light bursts upward, curving between you and the hunger's head. The void wind slams into it, rattling like a hurricane against glass. She's sweating instantly, her wiry frame trembling. "It wants your question. You started the game, now you finish it." "Oh, great," you shout back, bracing against the gale. "That would have been a helpful warning before it grew a face." The green wall flickers, dimming. Cracks streak across the light like fractures in ice. The hunger's eyes fix on you. Those hollows widen, bright red embers glowing like coals. The whispers return, but deeper now, heavier, echoing inside your ribs instead of your ears. "Feed us. Ask again. Give us the answer." Your knees almost buckle. It's not a request, it's a command, pressure, the weight of hundreds of unfinished hungers pressing you flat. The witch snarls, digging both hands into the dirt to keep the barrier alive. It's binding to you. You asked first. That makes you its player. Outsmart it, now! Your brain races, panic sizzling through your veins. Outsmart it how? Another unanswerable question? Something so contradictory the hunger can't twist it? The whispers rattle harder. Ask, ask, ask. Your mouth goes dry. But then something clicks. The Gnome King's words, smug and grating, slide back into your head. Every puzzle begs a solver. Every solver is a prisoner. What if you flip the board entirely? You step forward toward the barrier, heart pounding like war drums. You want a question? Fine. The hunger's abyss mouth sways closer, the pole so strong your boots drag an inch through the soil. You yell over the storm. What happens when the riddle refuses the riddle maker? The clearing freezes. The pole cuts off so suddenly you stumble. The black vapor halts mid-royal, the vast head pausing like a puppet whose strings just tangled. The whispers scatter into panicked fragments. Not, cannot, no. The witch gasps, eyes wide as if you just kicked a god in the teeth. The hunger's branch crown tilts, its ember eyes narrowing. It jerks once, twice, as though convulsing. The abyss mouth closes with a snap, sucking in its own scream. Then, to your horror, it begins to answer. Its voice isn't words, not exactly. It's the sound of trees splitting, of wind forcing its way through caves. You understand without understanding, like meaning burned into your skull. When the riddle refuses, the maker unravels. But who, little solver, is the riddle, and who is the maker? The ground surges again, roots spiral upward around your legs, not binding this time, pointing, directing. The witch's face drains of color. It's turning the question back. You gave it a mirror. The hunger roars, but it's not rage. It's glee, horrible and eager. The roots twist higher, forming a jagged crown shape above your head, pulsing red like its ember eyes. It's trying to name you the riddle. Your chest seizes. Oh no, nope, not doing the crown thing again. The witch lurches forward, her barrier collapsing behind her. She grips your shoulders hard enough to bruise you. Fight it! Deny it! Refuse to play! But the hunger's whispers are already inside you, coaxing, clawing. You are the riddle. We are the maker. Feed. Finish. Wear the crown. Your skull aches. Your teeth grind. You can feel it trying to slip inside your thoughts like oil through cracks. And you realize, if you answer wrong, if you accept the crown, you won't outsmart it. You'll become it.
The roots crown you tighter, their tips prickling your scalp like thorns warming with blood. The hunger's ember eyes bore into you, daring you to blink, daring you to nod, daring you to give the tiniest consent. The witch is in your face, her breath sharp with smoke and herbs. Don't let it finish! Do not wear the crown! Your voice grates out. Kind of busy getting strangled right now. She hisses through her teeth, hands scrabbling at the roots, but every time she yanks one away, another coils into place. They're not trying to hold you anymore. They're shaping you, sculpting you into the very thing you destroyed once already. The hunger's voice rumbles through the clearing, too vast to come from its mouth alone. Maker and riddle, solver and crown, all one when the game is bound. The witch's eyes flash and she snarls, It's looping the puzzle, you against yourself. Your breath shudders. The pull inside your head is unbearable now, a tide crashing, promising relief if you just stop thinking, stop resisting, stop trying to be clever. Just let the crown settle. Let the puzzle wear you. But then you hear it. Faint, underneath the roar. Not the hunger's voice. Something else. A child's laugh. Soft, high, and quick, gone almost as soon as you catch it, but it's there. Your chest tightens. It's not memory exactly, but something buried in the forest, in the hunger's patchwork voices. One of the many swallowed puzzles, a little riddle never solved. And you realize this isn't just a battle. The hunger is stuffed full of unfinished games, thousands of voices still rattling inside. If you can turn them against it, you might break the crown before it locks. You dig your nails into the roots at your temples. You shout not to the hunger, but to the voices inside it. Hey, you don't want another king any more than I do, right? You want out? Then stop feeding it. The hunger bellows, a storm wind howl, shaking every leaf from the trees. The voices clamor, furious, writhing. But beneath the noise, you hear more of them, the small ones, the quiet ones, rising. Out, out, out. The crown of roots loosens, trembling. The hunger roars louder, its ember eyes flaring wide. The branch crown head lunges downward, abyss mouth yawning to swallow you whole. The witch slams her palms against the ground, green fire exploding outward in jagged runes. The roots sizzle where they touch the light, snapping apart. "Do it now!" she shrieks. Your heart hammers. You force your voice steady, almost casual, even as the void breathes inches from your face. All right then, riddle me this. You bite down the panic, savor the words like they're your last joke. If I'm your crown, then who's wearing you? The hunger freezes. The forest groans like a living thing split down the spine. The ember eyes widen, then collapse inward, sucked into the abyss mouth. The voices scream in terror this time, fracturing, scattering into static. The crown of roots around your head withers, crumbling to dry husks that slide down your shoulders. The branch crown head convulses, twisting violently as the vapor tears itself apart. The mouth closes, but too late. The paradox unravels through it, folding it into itself. Light floods the clearing, not warm, not cold, just blinding white, washing every shadow flat. You stagger, covering your eyes. When the light fades, the hunger is gone. Not dissolved into smoke this time, simply gone. The clearing is silent, so silent you can hear your pulse hammering in your ears. The witch collapses to one knee, coughing, sweat slicking her face. Her cloak hangs off her like rags. She looks up at you, eyes dark with something between awe and suspicion. You did it! Yeah, outsmarted it again. Starting to think I should charge for this service. She doesn't smile. She studies you with sharp, tired eyes, as if making sure nothing in you is still glowing red. The forest shifts. Leaves rustle. Roots draw back into the soil, retreating like embarrassed servants. The air is light again, breathable. But as the witch rises shakily to her feet, she murmurs, almost to herself, "Or maybe you just taught it a new game." Your stomach turns cold, because for the first time since the hunger vanished, you realize the voices aren't gone entirely. They're quiet, yes, but not silent. They're waiting.
The silence presses on your skin like damp cloth. Too heavy, too deliberate. The clearing looks calm now. Roots tucked away, trees still. Moonlight dripping silver across the stump where the cube once sat. But under that stillness, you hear them.
the faint susurration of the voices, packed down tight, hiding like coals under ash. The witch steadies herself against a tree, breathing hard. Her gaze never leaves you. Don't trust the quiet. It's never gone, not truly. You rub your temples, fingers brushing the spots where the roots had crowned you. The skin is raw, tender, as if something left its mark beneath the surface. Yeah, thanks. I figured that out when it whispered its way into my skull. She limps closer, her cloak dragging, her eyes sharp. Listen carefully. It bound itself to you the moment you asked. You turned its question inward, and for a heartbeat it couldn't tell who was the maker and who was the riddle. That confusion gave you control. Great, you mutter, half laughing, half choking. So I'm what now? Its babysitter? The witch tilts her head. Its keeper. If you're clever, maybe it's prison. You glance around at the silent clearing. The air is breathable again, yes, but you can't shake the sensation that every shadow is leaning toward you, waiting for you to slip. And what happens if I'm not clever? Her silence is enough answer. Your throat tightens. You glance at the stump. The cube's crater is splintered, gouged deep into the wood, glowing faintly as though embers still writhe in the grain. The hunger might be gone, but its seat remains, an empty throne, waiting. You drag a hand down your face. The king set this up. He wanted me here, wanted me to poke the box, wanted me to wave at the wreckage. This, whatever this is. The witch's eyes narrow. He wanted to pass the purse. His bargain was never to solve the hunger, only to deliver it. That thought hits like ice water down your spine. You clench your fists. So that smug little gnome basically shoved the world's worst trap in my lap and laughed all the way home. The witch shrugs, a sharp, exhausted movement. That's what kings do. You almost laugh, but it curdles before it can leave your throat. The forest is too still, too watchful, the voices too patient. You shift your gaze back to the witch. So now what? I walk out of here with a head full of whispers and hope they don't decide to redecorate my brain? Doesn't exactly sound like a winning plan. Her lips twitch, almost a smile, but not kind. There is no winning plan. There's only surviving the game. You hate how true that sounds. The forest exhales suddenly, a gust rattling the branches overhead. The moonlight quivers across the clearing. You feel it, the whispers stirring just slightly. Maker, solver, wearer. You freeze. You hear that? The witch closes her eyes, weary. It's not speaking to me. Your stomach twists. She steps closer, lowering her voice. You have one choice now. Carry it or bury it. Either way, you'll never be free. But if you carry it, maybe, just maybe, you can trick it into eating itself. A puzzle so endless, it folds in on its own hunger. Right, you say, breath shaky. Sure, I'll just invent the infinity riddle, no problem. Her hand brushes your shoulder, light as a moth's wing. Better than letting it wear you. The clearing feels smaller now, the trees leaning inward, the stump glowing faintly red. Every path out looks darker than it should. You stare at the witch. So I'm supposed to walk out here like nothing happened? Pretend I didn't just nearly get crowned as the world's hungriest smoke demon? Her voice is soft, but it cuts like glass. That's exactly what you must do, because the moment you admit it happened, the moment you claim the story, the whispers rise, faint but hungry. Feed us. She tightens her grip on your shoulder. Then it knows you're playing again. The forest groans long and low, and you realize with a sick twist in your gut, You might have outsmarted the hunger for now, but the game isn't over. It never was. The crown didn't break, it only shifted, and right now it's still hovering, invisible, waiting for you to slip.
The forest feels like it's holding its breath. You stand in the middle of the clearing, the witch's hand still on your shoulder, the glow of the stump behind you casting faint red veins through the wood. The cube is gone, the hunger dissolved, or at least pretending to be. But the pressure remains, tucked behind your ears, whispering like an itch you can't scratch. The witch lets go, drawing her cloak around herself as though it suddenly matters again. "This is where we part," she says, voice like rust scraping stone. You blink. "That's it? You drag me into the worst cosmic game show ever, and now you're just gonna wander off?" Her mouth curls, not quite a smile. "You survived. That makes you dangerous enough without me nearby." "Dangerous to what?" "To everything," she says simply. Then she steps back into the tree line, melting into the dark as if she was never real at all. You're left standing in the clearing, alone with the stump and the two quiet woods. The whispers shift again. Maker, solver, keeper. You shake your head hard, as though you can rattle them out like water in your ears. Not today, not again. You force your legs to move, crunching through dead leaves toward the nearest path. The forest doesn't resist this time. No roots grab at your ankles, no branches lean to block your way. It almost feels like it's watching you leave, letting you go because it knows you'll carry the game with you. Your boots scrape on stone as the trail winds upward. The air grows thinner, colder, the moon chasing you through breaks in the canopy. You keep expecting the ground to lurch, for the abyss mouth to open beneath your feet, but it doesn't. Instead, the whispers nestle closer, not loud, not urgent, just present, like a hum under your skin, like a loaded question hanging in the back of your throat. You try humming to yourself, some stupid tune, anything to drown them out. It works for a few steps. Then the voices pick it up, weaving their own harmony until the forest feels like it's singing through your bones. You stop humming. By the time you stumble out of the tree line, dawn has smeared a pale bruise across the horizon. The village roofs glimmer faintly in the distance. Civilization, safety, normalcy, or at least the pretense of it. You breathe in, deep, and let it out slow. You survived. You didn't wear the crown. You outsmarted the hunger. At least, that's what you keep telling yourself. Because in the hollow spaces between your thoughts, the whispers chuckle, soft and patient. Every puzzle begs a solver. Every solver is a prisoner. And whether you like it or not, you're still playing. So here we are, at the edge of the forest, with dawn pulling color back into the world. You're safe, or safe enough, with only a thin line of trees separating you from the village, from hearth smoke, from people who've never asked the wrong question in the wrong place. The path stretches gently downward, and each step is easier now, softer on your legs, less burdened by shadows. The voices have gone quiet again, for the moment, retreating into corners where they can't tug so sharply at your thoughts. Maybe they're sleeping, maybe they're just waiting. Either way, the silence they leave behind is almost merciful. The air is cool and damp, carrying that crisp edge only morning knows how to hold. You can smell the dew on the grass, faint wood smoke curling from chimneys, the shy sweetness of wildflowers just beginning to open. Even the birds are hesitant, their first chirps thin and scattered, as if unsure it's truly safe to sing. You walk slowly, no rush now, letting the earth support you, letting your breath fall into rhythm with your steps. The night is behind you, the puzzle box is gone, the hunger is diminished, at least for a while. And as you keep moving, the thought drifts in, calm and steady. Not every crown has to be worn, not every riddle has to be solved tonight. There will be more games, of course, there always are. But for now, you've earned stillness. You've earned rest. So let your shoulders unclench. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let the hum of morning wrap around you like a blanket. And if the whispers come again, let them drift past like leaves in a stream. Sleep now. You're safe enough to dream. Sweet dreams.